Yo, crazy Kev, what's that I see? You always on the sidelines, let me be. Talking tough online, but you ain't in the cage. Always in the comments, spilling all your rage. You talk that talk, but where's the action? Too busy watching numbers like it's satisfaction. Front row seat, but we ain't in the mix. Like Cup in the corner trying to get his fix. Crazy Kev, you ain't the man you claim. Got a keyboard in the mouth, but you got no game. Sitting back, watching, letting others run amok. Everybody knows that Crazy Kev's a truck.
Panda MMA, bringing punches with the news. Fight breakdowns, every move you don't want to lose. Catch the latest scoop, like a hook to the chin.
This is Panda MMA News. And now, here are your hosts, Richard and Taylor.
Guys, I am Daddy from Panda MMA News. And here we have the sloppiest of them all.
It's Big Poppy, bitch.
It's Big Sloppy.
And actually, today I'm more of like the local police department looking out for the fucking child molester that just popped up.
Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing, guys.
You guys know how razors work?
Here's the thing.
Well, he's figuring it out.
All right, shut this cuck motherfucker needs to shut up. But the thing is, guys. Here's the thing. So I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning because we had an interview at 8 a.m. All right, with Icy Mike, who we're going to get to.
Very close to an elementary school.
Actually, right across the street, but that's neither here nor there,
or here or there.
But
right?
No, we had an interview with Icy Mike, which is on this episode. It was at 8 a.m. So
he wanted to look good for the
shut
kids.
The fuck up, so I can tell the story. So I had to wake up super early so I could take apart the computer and transport it here so we could record this shit. I woke up. I chugged 3 twisted teas. I went in the bathroom. I saw like a little strangly on the beer, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just get that real quick. I got it. I buzzed way too close to the skin than I should have, and here we are.
Here we are, man.
Sean O'Malley is that thing.
I guess that works.
Sean O'Malley is that thing.
Sean O'Malley is that thing. He's that guy.
So other than that, we're just trying to keep the guy in closed doors right now. We don't want anybody thinking anything weird about him. So
no,
that's not an elementary school kid. You need to chill out,
dude. Settle down, dude. I'll tell you what. Here's the thing, dude. You guys heard that song at the very beginning. Him and Kevin and Ian, they all share the same corner, very close quarters, shoulder to shoulder, almost like you're working at a yogurt mill. Which, by the way, ties into the story that's coming up here. You know what? Fuck, I might as well just get the story because that I already tied it in. So what ties into this story, guys? I go to Trader Joe's and I'm looking around, I grab my shit, I go to check out. The girl working, first of all, smoke show. We're talking like I don't know if I have any sound that'll but this is probably the closest. But yeah, smoke show. Okay, we're talking complete smoke show. My bad. But she asked, she's all, hey, what do you think about the store? I'm like, it's a lot smaller than I thought it would be. So yeah, I used to work at this yogurt shop, and we were shoulder to shoulder. I'm like, what, yogurt mill? And she's like, yeah, over off Roselle. I'm like, oh, so you work in the fucking ghetto? She's all, hey, I live over there. I'm like, oh yeah, you gotta walk out to your car with a taser and some pepper spray, just clowning on this bitch for being poor, pretty much. And yeah, then she tried to invite me to Aftershock, and I pretty much brought up my rich guy laugh. I'm like, I want to be caught dead with you. And yeah, that's what ties in that story.
Seamless, bro. That was seamless.
Yeah, dude, seamless, just like your fucking bra. But anyways, so yeah, guys, we have Icy Mike on today. We have Dawna Gonzales, who is one of the head coaches at 10th Planet. She used to be one of the head coaches at 10th Planet in Hollywood, but I believe the gym she resides at now is 10th Planet in San Diego. I could be wrong. We haven't recorded that interview yet, but you guys will find out when we do. But very excited for him. We already recorded Icy Mike at this point, and fantastic interview. Probably one of my favorites that we've done so far. Guy was super cool. It really worked out great because I've been watching his videos for like 4 or 5 years. So it was really easy to connect with him. And yeah, so that's that. We're coming off a weekend of no UFC. But I guess we'll recap some of the boxing fights because I happen to tune into some of those. So Callum Walsh, who is signed under Dana White, he fought in Ireland. I believe it was a first round knockout he got. Knockout was very controversial. He dropped the guy, and I've never seen the refs count so fast. They're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where normally they're like 1, 2, 3. They just fucking. So I don't know if they're trying to like really sprawl this guy to fucking greatness, or if that ref was just, maybe drunk. He wanted to get the fuck out of there. He had to pee. But yeah, so that was that one. We also had Anthony Joshua fight this weekend. If I'm correct, he was a pretty big favorite over his opponent. He got flatlined. He went through the fucking ropes, man. It was it's kind of funny to see, but
just goes to show you where Francis is at in that whole boxing realm.
Well, I mean, since we're on that subject, Francis did come out and say, like, I took it as excuses that time, but like the more time has settled, I'm kind of like more interested in what he was saying. He was saying that Anthony Joshua was supposed to show up at a certain time, and they were supposed to start warming up at a certain time. So he started warming up at that time. Anthony Joshua showed up like 2 hours late. So he was already warmed up for like 2 hours straight before the fight. So I'm kind of listening to that a little bit more. Just because I've heard a lot about Anthony Joshua kind of being a prima donna about certain things. So I could definitely see him doing it. I could see him turning around and, showing up late to fuck with his opponent. And, Francis pretty much already blew his load before he even got out to the ring.
How does that even work, though? I mean, this is all like live action.
Yeah, but it's boxing, dude. Like, boxing takes like 45-minute intermissions in between rounds. Like, that's why boxing sucks ass. That's why Dana White started to get into it. Like, boxing just sucks. I don't know what else to say.
Dana's getting into it because it sucks ass and he wants his ass sucked?
No, well, he wants his ass sucked, but I don't think he's getting into it because it sucks ass. I think he's getting into it because he wants, for one, that Saudi Arabia money. So he's going to get that Saudi Arabia money.
Wait, are we talking about Francis right now?
It's a mixture.
So I just want to put this out there right now, guys. John Jones is the pound for pound greatest.
Shut the fuck up, dude. We need to. We're gonna download the sound of the soundboard. You guys will hear it the next episode. You will hear that John Jones is the pound for pound greatest.
So, what are we talking about? Some chicken that was at a yogurt mill that you. Hey, guys, John Jones is the pound for pound greatest fighter in the UFC.
If you lock John Jones into a yogurt mill with anyone, and I mean anyone,
shoulder to shoulder,
he will be the one walking out
with ice cream.
No, the only way he's walking out, dude, is if Tom Aspinall's in there and he wants to get the fuck away from him because that guy is scared shitless. He wants no business with Aspinall. I don't blame him, dude. I don't blame him. Aspinall's a monster. Hey, if I'm John Jones, I'm staying the fuck away from Aspinall. That's all I got to say.
He'll hit him with that fucking aspirin.
Hit him with that fucking real Hard2Hurt, dude. He'll give him that fucking Hard2Hurt, make him spit his fucking blood out. Yeah, but that's a fight we'll never see because, John Jones, he's kind of a coward and he only really likes to hit his wife. But, that's neither here nor there. If you guys didn't tune in the last episode, you don't know. We've declared war on everyone. We are going with this is the full effect of guruism. We are done trying to please certain people in certain gyms. And really what it comes down to is, hey, Jackson Winks, you had your opportunity to keep feeding us fighters for interviews to help us out, here and there. You don't want to keep up your end of the bargain. So we're letting the hounds out, dude. I'm done masking how I feel about John Jones just to keep a relationship. Fuck that, dude. John Jones is a coward. He's a fucking little bitch. So he's a little bitch that can fuck me and my buddy up here, but that's neither here nor there. We're not professional fighters. You know who he can't fuck up, though, is Aspinall. That's why he's running with his fucking little fucking tail tucked between his legs, and he's messaging fans talking about his big black cock. But in reality, he's just got a little fucking shrimp. That's why he beats his wife. He's really depressed about it. But we're not really here to talk about that too much. What we're really here to talk about is how
Dana is.
But we're here to talk about how Ian and Kevin share the same corner. And that speaking of the whole shoulder to shoulder thing, like in a yogurt mill, dude, imagine being shoulder to shoulder with another guy in the same corner. Like we're talking some crazy shit right now, bro.
I know. It's just, but who are they spectating?
each other's wives.
I'm gonna say Kevin's boyfriend and
they're-
Ian's wife.
Well, they're that, and they're watching both of them get reeled up by Aspinall. John Jones is in there too.
Have you ever been fingered by a UFC fighter?
He's in there like,
Just fucking.
yep. He's in there fucking screeching, dude, screeching like a cuck.
And he's not even American.
But yeah, you know, there's not much to say, guys. There really wasn't. There was no fights this weekend, so let's.
Let me say this. Let me say this, guys. So, I don't know. We all watched the same fights, I think, you guys. I mean, I was falling asleep because it was pretty boring, but Merab versus Sean O'Malley. Chael Sonnen and Sean seem to think that they're...
No, whoa. Save that for after. That's current events.
Go fuck yourself. I'm already halfway.
No, you're not.
No,
You're not. We're
already halfway.
No, we're going to cut this part out. We're going to cut this part out. Just save it.
You're a bitch.
We're recording right after this. You can save it for this.
You're a bitch.
All right. Here's your interviews, guys. We have Icy Mike and Dawna Gonzales. All right, guys. We are joined here by the one, the only Hard2Hurt, a.k.a. Icy Mike.
Ooh.
The studio audience. Don't worry about them. They're eating Gary in the
Guys,
corner.
relax.
They are so kind. The audience here is so kind. Which way do I look? Wait, which way am I looking for your audience? Do I look
Whichever
like
one's better looking.
right?
It's kind of like a mosh pit with this audience. They're surrounding us.
But go ahead and kick off the questions, Taylor.
Well, first and foremost, dude, I'm just so stoked to be talking to you because I would just always be hungry for more fights on the internet. And then, you know, obviously street beefs is one of those things that pops up all the time on YouTube. And I just remember the fight. Lay on him, Dylan. Lay on him. I'm like, Dylan did a great job of prolonging the inevitable, man. He just didn't want any of that stand up with you. Like, so I guess my first question for you is, okay, how do you get into street beefs, and what is that entire experience like? I mean, really, it just seems so scrappy.
Street beefs is crazy. Street beefs is one of those things that I think every guy, listen, I know every guy that watches street beefs looks at it and goes, I kind of want to do that. Dang, I want to do that. Like, could I do that? I think I could do that. I think every dude does that when he watches the UFC. Every dude does that when he watches boxing. But then when you watch street beefs, it's like, oh shit, it's like right there. Like, I could theoretically do that. And I was always a huge fan, and I always felt that. And generally throughout my life, when I have felt a calling to do something weird that people want to do, but no one does because you just don't do that, I just go do it. If I can't think of a real consequence, I go do it.
Makes sense, man. Yeah, you know, I was actually the one messaging you over Instagram. I know it's hard to tell my current form because, you know, I'm built like a Greek god right now, but I did Muay Thai for 7 years, dude, and your videos catered my whole sparring experience. I used every little bit of leg kick fuckery that you had, all those videos.
Wow.
I used everything, dude. It's so much to the point where, like, people started predicting all the shit. Yeah, no,
wow.
I love that leaping leg kick video, especially if they're wearing headgear. You know, you throw the hook, get the headgear sideways, and leap the leg kick.
Yes, that is a very deep cut. That is a deep cut, sir. Wow. That's nuts. Yeah.
Massive fan.
No, yeah, that's real. A lot of people, when I do podcasts and things, they'll say like, oh yeah, watch your videos. And I'm thinking they've seen like recent stuff or they've seen the popular stuff, the weapons. But no, that's a deep cut. The actual real kickboxing stuff from our kickboxing program. That's nuts.
Which is kind of hilarious too, because, you know, and I don't know how you feel about it, but for our coaches and stuff, they'd always be like, get off the damn internet. You're going to learn the technique here in the dojo. And so they drive them nuts when you come in with some new technique you learn from the internet. And they're like, get off of that.
That's a problem. And so I understand do you guys have kids? You got any kids?
No.
Okay.
I have my wife's little sisters. Yeah.
Your wife's little, so like, okay, same thing. You no doubt have had to explain things to them. And as you're explaining it, you realize like you're not being forthcoming, but you don't want to give them too much information now because it's going to make it harder for them to understand what they're trying to learn. I think good intentioned coaches do that when it comes to the internet stuff. And you see it in BJJ a lot too. Stop trying out Instagram stuff. People want to invert and do all kinds of wild stuff they saw on Instagram. And their coach is like, bro, you can't even pass guard. Like, why are you trying to learn, barambolos? You can't pass somebody's guard. But I think it's a little short-sighted because there comes a time in a fighter or athlete's career in their training where it's like, yeah, I get it. Straight punches, hands up, don't cross my feet. Then what? And I think most coaches that coach like open skill division classes, like just like commercial gym coaches, I don't think that they take the average athlete far beyond straight punches, hands up, don't cross your feet. But if you actually want to fight, you need some style, you need some flavor, you do need to inject some things that aren't quite right. And I think the internet is a fine way to do that as long as you have the context and the base understanding of the fundamentals.
Yeah, man, I completely agree. And I can't thank you enough for the years of the videos, man, because like I said, they helped me a lot. But I'm actually going to dive into the questions I now have pre-written now that I've gotten all the flattery out of the way. So what inspired you to start the Hard2Hurt channel?
Exactly how we opened this up. I was in an MMA gym, and it was a bunch of good guys in there. There was pro fighters. There's guys who'd been up to the big leagues coming through there. It was a great group of guys as far as their skill and their ability and their toughness. But there was no pedagogy. There was no explanation of why anyone did anything. There was no talk of tactics. There was no talk of strategy. It was keep your hands up, throw punches. And there was a lot of emphasis on technique in class, not so much in sparring, but a lot of emphasis on technique, like details of techniques, like your shoulder coming to your chin. And they never explained any of the whys. And I looked around at some of the people I trained with, and I was like, some of these guys would like to know why. Some guys don't care. Some guys are like, I want to be a fighter. I want to be a machine. Tell me what to do. I'll go do it. I've trained fighters like that. That's fine. But there were people in these classes that like, hey, I'm an adult, a reasonably intelligent adult that's interested in this. Why am I doing these things? Why am I having trouble? And I think if you can explain the whys to people, it makes the hows easier. Like, why are you doing this? That makes it easy to stop if you know why you're making these mistakes. And I always felt like, man, I feel like there's other ways to explain this stuff. So I started looking for ways to explain things. I didn't have a vehicle to do that because I wasn't an instructor or coach in that gym. And so I started the channel because I said, maybe if I can explain these to other people will be like, yeah, that resonates with me. And I'll find out, am I alone? And I found out that I was not alone. I found out there were lots of people who appreciated the different way of explaining things, or the more detail and more nuance to techniques that most people would be like, yeah, bro, just keep your hands up.
Yeah, I definitely love the video where you talk about kind of like overthrowing the kick to turn to your back and then throwing that side kick because every time they want to come forward at you.
Yeah. That we call that the RKM special. Every fighter from RKM hits that just about every dang fight, with the exception of our pressure fighters don't do it too much. But that was an important one. And then you see recently it came full circle. We gave another option off of it. We did a video with Wonder Boy. So it started out as a janky trick that I always used in kickboxing and my students always used in kickboxing. And then fast forward 5 years and we're doing a video with Wonder Boy, and he's like, oh yeah, here's another option off of that same concept. And it just feels great to hear that people are having success with the techniques that we show on the channel. I think that's like mind-boggling for a Sunday morning. That's a great way to start my Sunday. It feels really good, guys. I really appreciate that.
No, and I seen that, and I was chuckling a little bit because you had a video that said karate sucks, like prove me wrong, kind of. And the next thing you know, you got Wonder Boy on. I thought that was absolutely hilarious, and I'm sure like most of that was just comedy, and like you wanted to get people to talk about it and stuff like that. But
yeah,
that's hilarious for me.
That was the video. I did an impression of Jesse Enkamp, the karate nerd. I did like I dressed it. I put a wig on and made roasted him. I really roasted him. And then he ends up coming on the channel. He's been on the channel a bunch of times, and I've been on his, and we become friends. I think most people, like you guys, you get it, that there's like hyperbole, and exaggeration and oversimplification of things for comedic effect, I think the real ones get it. And if along the way we piss off some not so real ones, hey, engagement is engagement.
That's right. Yeah, they weren't meant for it. They weren't ready. If you're not ready for the heat, stay out of the kitchen.
There you go.
So I want to ask you, you know, my experience walking into a gym, you know, wherever they're at in their training, you're just going to pick up and you're going to start working with them, whatever that is. How do you handle a new person coming into your gym? Do you start them from the very beginning and you're working on, you know, from footwork all the way up and basic principles, or does yours kind of the similar where it's like, hey, whatever the lesson is, like wherever you're training at, is that where they're hopping in and they're just going to pick up as they are more consistent?
I struggled early on with that because the gyms that I came up in, what they really wanted you to do is before you learned anything, they wanted you to know how to stand. And before you knew anything, they wanted you to know, like they wanted you to do like this intro class where they taught you how to throw a 1 and a 2, side step right, side step left, keep your hands up, keep your stance. They wanted you to have that first before you learned anything. And it just was unrealistic because you were constantly resetting for the new guy. Like no one could get anywhere because if there was a new guy in the class, that's what him and whoever he was around was doing. If it was a new guy and only 2 other people there, guess what we're doing? I have found that it's not that big a deal to just drop the new guy in as long as you contextualize it and you tell him, hey, none of this shit's going to make sense. Specifically, what we're working on is making sure that we're far enough away so that this guy can't kick us. So we're just always going to be far enough away that he can't kick us. And that's all we're going to worry about today. I think the new guy dilemma, when a new guy comes into a martial arts studio or gym or dojo or whatever, is they always land him somewhere between those two things. Like, hey, we're going to start you from scratch, or hey, it doesn't matter, just get in and play. They try to split the difference too much, I think. And they'll try to make sure that this guy's technique is good and also get him up to speed on the lesson. And then that ends up just holding him and his partner back. I think if you're coaching strategy and tactics and attributes and the person is reasonably intelligent, you can tell them what the object of the game is, give them a task, and then let them accomplish it. And they'll figure a lot of it out on the job. And then you can tell them stuff like, oh, make sure you hit with these 2 knuckles, or make sure your chin is tucked. Like you can always fix that stuff.
Yeah. And, you know, that my question actually has nothing to do about this, but the fact you mentioned those 2 knuckles, it brought up another video that I remember watching from you, is how to throw the proper hook. It depends on the distance. If you're close, you know, you're more like this. If you're further away, that's where it turns sideways. And if you're really far away, you turn it completely, you know, almost upside down.
Right.
You talk about the 2 knuckles I brought up in my memory, but my main question is, so I've met a lot of people where they think, you know, martial arts training is sport. It doesn't work on the street. You are a man who is known for teaching self-defense techniques and what works on the street and what works in sport. Would you say what you learn in the gym is sufficient enough for the street?
Sufficient? I don't know that anything anyone learns is sufficient for the street. Like in reality, like the street is dangerous and scary. So I don't know that anybody's properly prepared for it. If the question is like, does MMA, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, and wrestling training, like sport training, does that prepare you? How much does that prepare you for the street? I would say that it prepares you far more than your average program, which purports to prepare you for the street. There are self-defense programs that say, we're not sport, this is real, this is street, this is self-defense. And I'm like, what are your training methods though? How do you train that? Like, how do you train? I think the sport training methods are what prepares you. I think technically you could, if you can defend a takedown in class, you can defend a takedown in the street. It might be different because you're wearing shoes, or the guy might shoot a weird takedown or do something strange, or someone else might be around, and those are considerations. But mechanically, the skill that you need to do, you practice in a sport-based class, and you can get the most reps of it in sport-based training. So I think that sport-based training, it's hard for me to quantify, but it probably gets you like 70, 80% of the way there. I think that most dudes who are MMA fighters, I think they'll most of the time be all right.
Well, it's also just amazing what a little bit boxing or kickboxing and a little bit of wrestling does for you out on a street platform compared to like the average person. Just
Right.
that little basic principle of knowledge.
Yeah, like what do you think you need if you knew nothing and this guy knew nothing? And then how much training do you think you need to reliably beat him in a fight? As long as we're not talking before we introduce the weapons and the environment and the extra people, how much training do you think it takes a person to go from zero to being able to most likely handle an average guy?
It's gonna be a little bit different for everybody, I'd think, but I mean, I'd imagine, you know, like you said, if you're jumping them into your course and you're just saying, hey, you have these primary focuses, and then you apply that to like, hey, keep a good enough distance to where you don't get kicked. You know, when you're in this range, you're throwing these types of combinations. You need to move left to the right. You want to stay on the outside of the lead leg or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't know. I think after, you know, a month of consistent training, you're probably ahead of the average guy out there walking around. And maybe that's just me saying that because I've done sports my entire life, so it's a little easier to pick things up. But yeah,
that is exactly right. I think that's a very important point. That makes a huge difference. If you've ever gotten good at anything, you know how to get good at stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, let me ask you this. I know your biggest focus is, you know, the coaching and your platforms. Is there any possibility you're ever going to do any competing again as far as like, I mean, maybe it's not street beefs, but do you have any desire to do any competition?
Gosh, y'all caught me at a strange time. So in the nature of honesty, yes, of course, like I that's always tickling the back of my brain. There's a part of me. I believe I have set it aside. I believe that I feel very good about the things we're accomplishing, but if anything, I am transparent. And yes, that thing, when you have it in you, it always like, God, that's how I started doing this. I was like, I think I can do that. Right. It always is there. At my age, I'm 43 now. I was never good in competition. Never. I was never good once in any fight. I was never able to take the things I did in the gym and do them in a ring. I had a very, very tough time in kickboxing and Muay Thai competition. And I just had so much more success with coaching. But it always calls to me. It always calls to me. And I can't say that if somebody somewhere put together something that was interesting, that I wouldn't have a serious conversation with my wife about it. But ultimately, I am right now 100% focused on my family and my kids. And I don't even know if I could get through a training camp anymore. So I believe that ship has sailed.
Fair enough. Well, hey, you know, mentioning
Why? Do y'all know something? Is somebody?
No.
We know a certain guy that might on a different platform that we'd like to punch, and
Yeah.
I think I'd love to send him send you his way. That'd be awesome.
As far as us though, no, we're good off getting our ass beat. But
we call him Crazy Cut Kev, but he goes Crazy Kev M&A. We absolutely hate that guy. He's super annoying and he gets a lot of heat. But anyways, no, that's just for me. That's like, am I ever gonna see this guy throw hands with somebody again? I mean, I don't care if it's street beefs. I don't care if you just record you punching somebody in a parking lot. I'm cool with that too.
Go start some shit at a gas station. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So the street beefs, I don't like hurting people. I feel uncomfortable hurting people, and I was never able to do well because I wasn't angry at the person. Like I'm overly relaxed and composed usually in these situations. And when I'm fighting well-trained people, I would just get torn apart because I'm just standing in front of them taking punches, and I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm not trying to hurt them unless I can get myself angry. And I just don't. I feel originally street beefs was to be proof of concept. Street beefs, the original premise was with Hard2Hurt was I was like, hey, I'm a regular guy. I'm not that great. I'm probably the worst guy on the fight team. And to show what just a basic level of training can do compared to untrained people. That was originally it. I wanted to show people, hey, you don't have to be real good to be that much better than the average guy, as we were talking about earlier. Like, you don't have to train very much to be that much better. That was originally the plan. when I realized that I was sort of like on to something, but I couldn't physically do it, I started coaching people to do it. They started winning fights. Now we just won a title at a Fight For It 22 last weekend. One of my fighters won the 170-pound kickboxing championship. I feel fulfilled. I feel, I told y'all this shit would work. It works.
I'm going to try my best to articulate this, but it was a thought that just popped into my mind when you said something about not wanting to, you don't have like an actual desire to actually hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully I articulate this in the right way. But my thought was, do you think that it was actually that feeling? Because I think that comes from a place of, you treat people like others, like almost like a level of vulnerability in a sense. Like, do you think that's what drove you to MMA to begin with? Because you don't like to don't want to hurt people. You also didn't want to be hurt by people. So you wanted to create like a security of protection. And that's what got you into it to begin with.
100%. I've been physically hurt by people many, many times. I started in martial arts at 11 years old. I was getting beat up in school constantly. That was back. How old are you guys?
I'm 30.
29. I don't know how it was when you guys were in grade school and middle school, but for us, fighting was not that big a deal. Now, when there's something happens at my kids' school, like people are getting kicked out of school and going to jail and stuff, we could have bloody noses and bloody knuckles and you get 30 minutes of detention. Like that was like, oh, go do your 30 minutes. Like we'd be like knocking each other's teeth loose. Oh, go do 30 minutes. So fighting was like not a big deal. Like you were going to have to fight somebody. If you ran your mouth at all, which I did all the time, you were going to have to fight people. I got in fights constantly. I got hurt constantly. My mom was sick of me getting my ass kicked and getting detention. And she said, I'm going to put you in karate. So she put me in martial arts. It wasn't karate, but that's another story. She puts me in martial arts so that I wouldn't get hurt anymore. I could at least protect myself. When I moved from traditional martial arts into more modern martial arts, I could never find a training program that really I felt like I was learning effectively. And when I got to the MMA gym, I saw they were hurting each other. They were hurting each other in that gym, and then they were hurting me. And that was the impetus why I wanted to start my own gym. I was like, I want to train somewhere. I didn't want to own a gym. I didn't want to be a head coach. I didn't want to start a program. I wanted to train somewhere where they wouldn't hurt me. And where I was training at, they'd sent me to the hospital. I'd been in the hospital 3 times from the same group of guys. And I never hurt anybody. And I was like, this sucks. And I started RKM just so I would have a place for me and my friends to train safely.
It's funny you mentioned that because when I first started jiu-jitsu, I started Muay Thai first and I went into jiu-jitsu and I thought, I know how to do Muay Thai. I know how to fucking sprawl. How hard is this shit?
Yeah, I get those straight punches and sprawl. No one can hurt me.
Yeah, exactly. I took someone's back. I made the rookie mistake of crossing my feet, while I had their back. The guy decided the way he's going to show me is to do that ankle lock and pop my knee out of place. So that kind of fucked me up.
He did it. And, did he do it fast or?
Oh yeah. So he looked over his shoulder. He's like, "Hey, you're gonna have to learn this lesson the hard way." I'm like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And then just crack. I'm like, "What the fuck?" Yeah. So I know all about the experience of trading partners. Purposely trying to fuck you up.
He consciously and deliberately injured you, and did live commentary as he did it.
Yeah, exactly. Which is actually kind of funny that you said it like that. But my question I wanted to ask earlier, though, you mentioned personal life, and I know this is completely off the sideball. I'm just kind of curious. What do you do for a hobby or fun? Is this it, or do you like to fish? Do you like to game? What do you do?
Man, you guys are right on time. My hobby was this. This was my hobby. Martial arts and fitness was my hobby. And then I made it a job, and then I made it a passion and a way for me to express myself. Some people take issue when I call YouTube an art form. I believe it's an art form, but I'm sympathetic to people who don't believe that it is and say, okay, fine. If you don't define it as art, it doesn't offend me. I think that you have a fine definition. I just have a slightly different one. I consider YouTube an art form. I know that sounds silly, but that's fine. So it started as this was my hobby. So what has happened is very recently, as in last week, I was like, I need another hobby. And I joined a kickball league. But I've never played a team sport or caught a ball. So I'm not very good. I'm easily the worst player on the team. So that's like, I guess my hobby now is being the worst kickball player on the kickball team.
Dude, kickball is actually extremely competitive, and somebody gets hurt every single time when we play. Because like, I work for a company, and it's like a big team environment, and we always do fun Thursdays. We'll go out and play kickball, and have pizza and just fuck around and have fun. But dude, it's actually really fun to play kickball. And like, I don't know about you guys, but when that ball starts bouncing, when the pitcher throws a bouncing ball, everyone gets all pissed off and stuff. And it's like. Tensions soar when you're playing kickball.
These guys are serious about this shit. And I love it. I love people that get super passionate about things that other people don't. That's the story of my life. But I think, and it's not to minimize kickball, and it's their passion, it's what they're into. I guess it's very similar to when I moved from in between the gym opening and me being a cop. I worked some part-time jobs, and I remember people bitching and moaning about the part-time job about, like I worked at Bass Pro Shops in the shoe department. I went to Bass Pro Shops for the discount. And I worked like once every 2 weeks in the shoe department, and they would be bitching about the end caps and like, so didn't put this out. So didn't put that. And they were like pulling their hair out over this. And I was like, yo, a couple of weeks ago, somebody shot at me, like it's not that big a deal. I think coming from out of an MMA gym where I've got guys fighting for titles and shaving maybe years off their life through their training and competition. And then we go play kickball. I'm like, hey guys, to me, it's not that serious. I understand why it's serious for you, but I thought we were just going to have a good time. These guys all showed up to win. I'm not very good, so I feel a little uncomfortable on that kickball team.
Yeah, no, that's hilarious, man. I always like I don't know. I kind of like knowing what people do, for the spare time, especially someone who has such a successful YouTube channel and such a successful gym. Obviously, you guys got champions coming out. Man, I forgot his name. It was back in the old days of your videos. It was a big mofo.
Something Davis, was it?
No, I don't know if it
Cliff?
was David. He was Cliff. Dude,
To Cliff with the dreadlocks.
Guy, yeah.
Scary dude.
You guys sparred in a couple of your videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That kind of gave me hope because I'm 5'9", dude, and like most people I'm sparring are like 6'1", 6'2". So I would study those videos over and over, like what works for the shorter guy. How can I get in there? And it actually helped me a lot because after I started watching your videos, I started having a lot of success against those taller guys. But
that's amazing to hear.
Yeah, no, like I said, man, I'm a huge fan. When I hit you up, I didn't hit you up because of to talk about combat sports. I really hit you up because you're almost like a secondary coach, to me. Throughout the years on the YouTube and everything.
Wow.
It really helped me out a lot. But what's your favorite self-defense technique, and why is it your favorite?
Richard, shut the fuck up. Hold on.
Sorry, man.
Hold on.
I'm used to moving through. My bad.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Yes, I would love to talk about my favorite self-defense technique, but it's just I'm taken aback by like I get this when I tour and do seminars. Occasionally, people come up to me and be like, "Yo, I tried out this move in sparring," and I'm like, "Oh, cool, man. That's great. I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad I had success." But to hear someone so specifically say that they experienced what I was hoping that people in the audience were experiencing. Like I wanted very much for someone who is training, has a coach, everything's mostly okay, but they want some, when I do commentary at Fight For It with a guy named Dylan McGrath, and he uses this term, he says the sauce, he's got the sauce. And he talks about the sauce, and it's just his way of explaining just the it fact, just an X factor, just an indescribable thing. And I try to put sauce in what I'm doing, and I don't know if anyone tastes it, but to hear someone like perfectly summarize, yes, that's exactly how I want it to feel. I want you to feel like you can come to the channel and, okay, I'm having trouble with this thing. What should I do differently? Okay, got it. And then you can go back to training and actually put it into effect. I think a vast majority of viewers are just hobbyists in that they just like learning about it and they don't necessarily train every week. And I think that's 100% okay. It's very, very cool. But to hear someone actually take it in there and use it the way it was intended to be used is very meaningful for me. So I want you to know that I think that's a huge, huge deal. My favorite self-defense technique is throwing my hat in somebody's face and then punching them.
That's hilarious. And yeah, we both get lost in the sauce with that stuff. So it's that's hilarious, man. Well, hey, listen, Icy Mike, we appreciate you hopping on with us. And, I just realized I got to join you guys.
There you go.
Yes,
now you're part of the crew.
Yes.
Dude. We got to send this guy a shirt.
Dude, we know you like free gear, man. We've got to send you some Panda MMA gear.
He doesn't have his headphones in. Now you hear you.
Hey,
I gotta be like you guys. I want to be part of this team now. Panda MMA News in the house. Big sloppy.
That's right. Well, yeah, it's because this guy doesn't. We grew up in a small town. He doesn't actually know how to type and read and stuff. So it's actually Big Poppy. It's actually Big Poppy. But we're working on it.
I type like 74 words per minute. So
calm down, Richard. You're a couple centimeters shorter on that hair from being on that list.
Well, that's because I fucked up this morning. But
74 words per minute. That is significant. You could get a job as an administrative assistant.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing programming for a second, but I don't know, man. I like talking to badasses more. So that's what transitioned that.
Chewing bubble gum and kicking ass, man.
Yeah.
But I feel like now that you're wearing sunglasses and a hat, dude, you are part of the team. So we have to send you some gear. But we're gonna cut it here. But stay on for a second after because we gotta finish your upload, and also we wanna talk to you off air for a second.
Okay, cool.
Alrighty. Well, thanks, man, for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Man, that was fun. That was really cool. Those were great questions. I haven't done a podcast. I haven't done one of these in, I think, over a year or maybe more. Like it got to where it was like every weekend I was doing this, and I didn't think it was fun anymore. And then I was like, well, and then you hit me up and I was like, I want to try it. It might be fun. Like these guys seem cool and legit, and you guys are. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, man. All right, guys, we are here with Dawna Gonzales. She is one of the head coaches at 10th Planet. I'm already an idiot. I'm sorry. Say it again. Socky Bombs.
South Bay in Chula Vista, California. If you get on the 5 and you drive to Mexico, stop right before you get there.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Like I said, we have some sake bombs. We have a restaurant locally that sponsors us, so when we show up, they just start feeding us sake bombs left and right. So but
it's all good fun. Let me kick this off.
Go ahead.
Well, Dawna, so the first time I met you, me and my buddy, we were in LA. We were headed there for Bellator fights, and there was a lot of ups and downs. But one of our best experiences was training, having a day session with you and your team in LA. And so, my first question for you, because I don't know much about you, is how did you get into martial arts, and what was that journey like for you?
So I was a boxing fan my whole life, and many years ago I was a massage therapist, and I was playing pool one night at a pool place in Culver City, California, and I met a professional boxer, and he was like, "Oh, you're a massage therapist, you should come and like meet all the boxers, blah 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 blah, and we'll hire you to massage us." And I was like, "Cool." So I ended up at Wild Card Boxing Gym. I don't know if you guys know a Wild Card, but it's Freddie Roach's place.
Yep.
Like it was super cool. So then from there, I was doing I was like training boxing, but boxing and massage therapy aren't really compatible two things, and only one of them was paying my bills. So I stopped that. And then a few years later, my brother, this was right around the time that UFC was getting really popular and like mainstream popular. So he called me one day and he was like, "Oh my God, Randy Couture has a gym in Hollywood. You have to go train there." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go." So I showed up, and all of this that was Legends in Hollywood, where 10th Planet was. So I signed up for the kickboxing classes because I was like, kickboxing's fun. I'll do kickboxing. So I signed up for the kickboxing classes, and they were like, "We're going to give you the full membership and you can do jiu-jitsu too." And I was like, "Oh, no, thank you. Not for me. I don't even know what that is, but no, thank you." And they were like, yeah, we're just going to give it to you. And I was like, "Cool, I'll never use it." And like I did in the beginning, I was just doing like the MMA workout classes. And there's actually, if you YouTube Legends, there is a video of me doing one of their promos. Like they did a promo and I was like interviewed for their MMA workout class. Anyway, so one of the guys one day showed me how to do a double leg, a double leg, and then maybe a Peruvian necktie. And I was like, that is not information that I would ever need in my entire life, but thank you. And then just kind of by accident, one day, one of the girls and she's now a Cobrini black belt. After class, like Eddie walked past us and she was like, "Eddie, can we take your class?" And they were like, "He's famous." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, get on the mats." We were like wearing, sports bras and shorts. Anyways, nobody gave me like an introduction. Like nobody was like, "This is Mountain. They were just like, "Don't die, bitch." And, but it was cool. Like it wasn't that I was so much attracted to the sport, is the people were just so cool. In Hollywood and LA, everybody's on a social climb. Everybody's on a like, what can you do for me? And Eddie and the guys were like, "Oh, you want to come train? We don't care. Come train." And it was like cool. And they didn't want anything from me. And like, it was just like a fun place to go hang out. And it was way healthier than going to the bars every night. So I just kept coming back every night and going to the jiu-jitsu class without any kind of context or like, oh, I'm going to compete. No, I was just like, this is a cool place to hang out every night. And 16 years later, here I am running 10th Planet South Bay with PJ Barch.
Yeah. So, I mean, speaking of, running 10th Planet South Bay, I'm curious what inspired the transition from, the Hollywood gym over to South Bay?
That's an interesting question. So long story short, I was asked to move down to San Diego from somebody who owned a gym who wanted to put a 10th Planet in a gym. And so that happened in the beginning of 2020, pandemic, not great things happened. And I ended up leaving with PJ to open his school. So, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I moved down here for one school. It didn't work out for various reasons. And PJ was like, "I'm ready to open my own school." By that time, he and I had established a really great professional relationship. And I was like, I'm riding with PJ. Not only is he amazing, but he is a fantastic coach. He's a really good business person. He's good people. So I was like, yeah, I'm with PJ.
Hey, there's a lot of different things you can focus on when it comes to jiu-jitsu in general, but is there something you guys go back to that's kind of part of the regular practice? Because basics are super important, but is there something that you guys are focusing on every single week to making sure that you are staying sharp on the basics? And I'm just curious from a coach's perspective, what is that for you guys in 10th Planet?
So I will say I can only speak for 10th Planet South Bay right now. Even though I went 12 years at HQ, Eddie has a little bit of a different focus than PJ as a head coach. So at South Bay, we start every single class and round standing up. So wrestling, if you are a fan of PJ Barch, should not be a surprise that we do a lot of wrestling, a lot of stand-up. We're integrating judo because he's been training a lot with J-Flow into our curriculum. And the other thing that we try and do, in addition to like the really strong fundamentals and really solid, smart jiu-jitsu, is we try and stay on the cutting edge of what's happening currently on the competition circuit.
I remember when we trained with you, the whole structure of the class was around
handstands across the mat.
There was that part for sure. There was also
Wait. What did I teach you?
Well, it was the warm up. You had us doing like somersault walks across the mat, and even at that time, like I was down to 220, but I mean that's still fat, and I was like, I can't fucking do that. Let's be real.
No, and the warm up was really good, and actually that's something that I took away from your guys's training regimen was how much of a focus you guys had on that first part of it, and just like, hey, you can do anything for 1 minute was like kind of the mentality was.
I still say that all the time.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, and then I also remember the whole training that day was around being on the bottom and having somebody in mount, and then focusing on putting both arms to a leg, and then getting that extension to clear a knee to get that separation and put him into a full guard scenario.
I still
That and also the key lock. She taught us how to like really lock in that joint in to get the key lock submission. That helped me a lot.
Yeah. Did I say? I still say it, so I hope I said it to you guys. You have to lock a joint before you can break the joint.
Yes.
Lock a joint into place, right? You have to lock it into place. Then you have to slide it out of alignment, and then you get to break it.
That is what I live by. Every time I got someone in that key lock position, I'm like, lock, slide, and then
you also used a terminology too, and I might be wrong, but did you say like T-Rex arms or something?
Yes, T-Rex arms. Then you don't get underhooked.
Yeah. So all this is coming back to me, and this is like, and this is amazing because this is years later, plus drinking, plus everything else, right? And plus life, and I still remember it. So kudos to you for being a great teacher.
My day is made. Anyway.
Yeah, I also distinctively remember how sweaty and slippery the mats were there that day.
They're still sweaty and slippery. I'm just a sweaty person. Look, I'm only sitting in my backyard, and I'm super sweaty. I don't know if you can tell. I'm a sweaty person.
I'm sweating right now, and it's 7 degrees in here right now. I'm Norwegian Scottish, so it's like I'm built for that. I'm just gonna sweat everywhere I am, no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm just fat, so.
Yeah. So you transition over there. I'm sure there was a lifestyle change. You had to relocate, and you live there now.
I went from LA to San Diego. I always say that San Diego is LA's more chill little sister. So I wouldn't say that my lifestyle changed that much. I do a lot of jiu-jitsu. And, when I'm not doing jiu-jitsu, I go to the beach and chill. Maybe I go to the beach more down here.
I think that's great that we're talking about this, because I think a lot of people outside of California, they don't understand that, we're from the northern part of California.
Okay.
And when it comes to the southern California, the LA, the San Diego, and, Orange County and all that stuff, we're hours away from each other. It's a totally different California.
Yeah.
We might as well be in different states.
Yeah. But I'm from NorCal. I was born in San Jose, grew up in Los Angeles, and now I live in San Diego. I'm full California.
Okay. We're in the Stockton area.
You're almost 209. I'm very curious. I know for a second you were competing in jiu-jitsu. Are you still like competing, training, compete? Do you have any future plans?
No, I've never been much of a competitor. I don't think I'm that good of a competitor. I think I'm 10 times a better coach than I am a competitor. And actually training with PJ for the last couple of years has really helped me understand that competing is a very specific and standalone skill set outside of just knowing good jiu-jitsu, which shouldn't surprise anybody. His fight IQ is amazing. No, I think I got the itch to be a competitor a little bit too late in my career. When I first started at 10th Planet, it was around 2008, and there just wasn't a lot of no-gi tournaments for women at that time. And so I did a couple of them, but it really never became part of my focus. And then I was also a bit older. I am a bit older. I'm 40 something. And I feel like competing at my age with girls who are like in their early 20s and even teens and stuff like that, I kind of feel like I'm behind or ahead, whatever. I missed the moment. I'll probably jump in for like little tournaments, maybe an invitational here and there. But it's never been a huge part of my career. And I do feel like I missed out on that a little bit, but I'm also okay with where I am doing a lot of coaching. I throw a lot of camps. I have other things that I'm cooking up. So I feel like I do contribute to the community in other ways, even though I'm not like necessarily on the competition circuit.
Hey, you're known for your work with women's self-defense. What motivated you to focus on that area specifically?
Yeah. So we did our first women's self-defense, like 6-week course at 10th Planet HQ, and watching women watching the light bulb go off behind their eyes when they're like, oh, I get it, or when they do something that they didn't think they were capable of, is super satisfying in my like my soul. You know what I mean? Like taking women and helping them be like, oh yeah, no, I can definitely, I can fight off a man, I can do this, I can feel strong in my body, was like satisfying in a way that I didn't realize that I was going to fall in love with. And so once I felt it, and I was like, I want every woman to feel this, what I'm feeling right now and what other women are feeling. And when they come to me and tell me that, or when they've had like something happen and then they come and jujitsu is like their therapy for it, that became my mission in life, is to help women feel that power.
Yeah, I honestly, I totally get that, because there's been moments with me and my wife where there's been areas where I've encouraged her and I saw her push through an obstacle or something in her life where she felt, you know what, I didn't realize I was capable of that. But there's also been some moments where I felt like I wasn't able to assist her to move forward like through that threshold.
Yeah.
Like what is it that you see specifically, and like where you see like a certain indication where you're like, hey, this is where I could help move the needle for this person specifically?
Mm-hmm. I think if you guys remember, I don't remember how long ago it was we met. I'm not a very big person. Like there's nothing physically intimidating about me. There's nothing like fit. Nobody looks at me and they're like, yeah, MMA fighter. You know, they're just like, whatever. Little tiny person with a big mouth. I think that when I show women like, look, I can do this. I'm older. I'm tiny. I'm not like a super athletic person. I'm just a regular person, and I'm super. There, look how short I am. See, I think that's why I am able to connect with women the way that I do, or even just anybody that I teach. Not just women, but like, you know, maybe not the most obvious athlete who wants to train, or kids or something like that. When I'm like, look, if I can do this, you can do this, because there's like, you know what I mean? I'm just super regular.
Yeah, it's funny you mention, women not knowing what they're capable of, because when I first started jiu-jitsu, I went in, I got submitted by women a quarter my size, left and right. People don't realize, like, well, I guess it's one of those things you don't know till you know.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know until you realize what you don't know. And I realized very quickly what I don't know when I got submitted, 12 times in a row by black belt women when I was barely a white belt. But I'm curious, what advice would you give to any woman that's who's just starting their journey of martial arts?
Just keep showing up, even on the days that it sucks, even on the days that you get your ass kicked. A bad day on the mats is better than being anywhere else, in my opinion, because it shows you exactly who you are. Jiu-jitsu and your performance in jiu-jitsu is a microcosm of your life. Do you want to know how you handle adversity? Go lose. Do you want to know how you can handle being on top, and if you have grace, go kick everybody's ass? Do you want to know how you push through hard moments? Go get your ass kicked by somebody who you think you should be able to beat, and it'll tell you exactly who you are.
I'm going to get, maybe this is oversharing, maybe this is vulnerable.
Please.
I don't know for sure, but I am going to share this with you. So me and my wife, we adopted her little sisters, and just for things that happened in the family, we just felt that we could give them better care they needed. Her youngest sister, she was struggling to express herself verbally. So what would happen is anytime she felt like she was done wrong or anything, she would resort to violence at school. So there was a situation where basically she was being treated as if she needed to be in like a special ed setting. And that wasn't the case at all. She just wasn't getting the care or the instruction that she needed.
Sure.
And I want to share this with you because I think that you'll love this. But the first thing that I did was I enrolled her into jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to share this with you because after about 6 months of being in the jujitsu room, she gained discipline, confidence, humility, and she got an award at school for being like the most improved, most changed student like for the entire year, because after she had, well, there's a couple things, as you know, being almost like her parent, that it was going through my mind, because I had gone through the same thing, and actually there was a point in my life where I was almost expelled from school, and my dad was given basically the choice of either being homeschooled for me or it was wrestling. So they put me into a wrestling program. So I knew that what wrestling had done for me and the outlet that it gave me to like kind of get out that frustration. But I also knew that it gave me a level head, because I was getting beat up by people half my size. And I go, wait a minute, I can't go through life acting this aggressive, because I don't know who's knows what. And I might end up on the wrong side of me being the aggressor here. So I need to really think through this and look at things differently. I knew what it did for me, and I gave that to her, and it did the exact same thing. Have you noticed that with any of your students? Have you had any situations like that?
Oh, 100%. I think that if you have kids that are being bullied, put them in jujitsu. And if you have kids that are bullying, put them in jujitsu, because everybody needs to get their ass kicked sometime. And it's
my mindset was, man, if she gets roughed up by a kid half her size, she might think of things differently, and boom, did it work.
Right? And even the guys, like dudes come in and they think they're hot shit for whatever reason. There's always somebody in the room that can beat them, and you need that. You know what I mean? I tell everybody, go get punched in the face at least once. It's going to remind you that you can take more than you think you can, but it's also going to remind you that you are not infallible. And everybody needs to remember that. So I think the bigger your ego is, the more you need to train, because everybody's got a neck. And the smaller your ego is, the more you need to train, because everybody's got a neck, and you're going to be able to choke some of them, and it's going to feel good. And I think that jujitsu is it's magic that way. It helps kids on the spectrum in a way that I can't even explain. I've had kids come in and they're like, I don't want anybody to touch me. And then we find somebody that they're comfortable working with, and they become a different person. Or, somebody who's like, I'm not strong. I'm not what. The spiel that I give at the beginning of all my women's self-defense seminars is, you don't need to be anything more than what you are right now. You don't need to be taller or shorter or older or younger or heavier or lighter or whatever you think you need to be. Everything that you walk into the room with, we can make you a really good, confident athlete with that.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Sometimes you need to get punched in the face, dude. Like when I started Muay Thai, I went in there, I was a fat kid, so I figured I could hit hard and everything. I got punched in the face one time. I realized I was not about that life. But that encouraged me to keep coming back. And I think that's why, we started this podcast is, I love the journey that people go through and developing their character and everything. And I just feel like martial arts is just something that everyone should do at least for at least a trial period.
I can tell sometimes. I can tell who's going to last and who can't, if by the way they respond to me beating them. Because remember, I'm older and I'm smaller. And so a lot of men, regardless of my toolbox, like fuck the black belt, you know what I mean? Like regardless of how big my toolbox is, there are still some people that are like, she can't beat me. She can't win. She can't do whatever. So the way that somebody responds to me beating them, I'm usually like, they're going to last, or no, they're not. If I can go through like a whole series of setup and like finish a submission or whatever, control or something like that, and the guy looks at me and he, like, you can just tell that he's like, jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Like that's a dude that's going to stick around because he sees the magic of the sport. And the guy who gets in his head and is like, that shouldn't have happened. And you're like, man, you missed the whole point. You know what I mean? You missed the whole point of what just happened.
No, I totally get it. And also I live for those moments too. When I see that happen, I'm going, oh,
right?
Damn, you just came in with those steroid muscles and you just got that humble pie, boy. I'll never see your ass again. Right. But then there's also those guys that come in too. And then you see that light bulb go off, like you're saying, where he's like, whoa, wait a minute. That just happened. Okay. I need to figure out what that was right there. Because if I can do that,
yes,
game changer.
That's the person who sees it and then go, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I love those moments when those guys come in that think they're gonna go in there and manhandle everyone, and then they just get humbled. That was probably one of my favorite parts about doing Muay Thai, is just seeing those guys go in there and just getting smashed by someone half their size and be like, oh shit. But I'm very curious. How do you balance your roles as a coach, life coach, and a martial artist?
Well, the life coaching and the coaching to me are the exact same thing. Like I don't do separate quote unquote life coaching. When I work with women or whoever, it's kind of all encompassing. I got that life coaching certification to make myself a more informed coach and have better training skills for people. So to me, they're all the same thing. So when I do like 6-week courses with women, it's all encompassing. Like how can we cross, I don't know the word that I'm looking for. Like, how can we make you spiritually, physically, mentally stronger all at the same time, because they're all the same. So, and when I am coaching somebody in jujitsu, I'm also trying to be aware of you as a whole person. I don't care that you have the physical ability to complete this. As like, how are you also dealing with it as a person? Is this giving you the growth and the help and the thing that you need for it to be in your life for whatever reason you're doing this, whether it's being a competitor, whether you're here for your mental health, whether it's for anything, is like, are we serving you the best way we can by giving you this information?
Yeah, I mean, the only word I can think of for that is like Avatar, the last Airbender. You gotta combine the spirit, the body, and the physical. That was my dumb little comment, though. Go ahead, Jim.
Silly little guy. So something I always love asking people is, who are you outside of the mats? And I know you touched on being, at one point it was massage therapy and that sort of thing. But who are you now? What are you doing when you have your free time? When Dawna gets to be Dawna?
I don't have a lot of free time.
I understand.
when I do have free time, I try to be a different aspect of my personality. When I'm in the gym, I have to be gym mom and in charge of everybody, and like this really kind of the alpha part of my personality. So I try not to be that outside of that realm. Like in my relationship, I try to be very submissive is not the word. I'm not submissive at all. I try to not bring that part of my personality as much into the relationship, so that I can get different things from my relationships outside of jujitsu. So like I try to be chill, and you know what, people in my life will probably be like, she's not chill, she doesn't, that's not true. But you know what I mean, like in my head I try to not always be in boss mode, I guess, and try to relax, try to be the person who goes to the beach and hangs out with my dogs and finds like softness in other places. I cry a lot, not in even a bad way. Like everything makes me cry. Like if you tell me that you love me, or if you show me a dog, or like if you tell me that like you achieve something in your life, I'll cry with you. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like I'm a yin and yang symbol in that aspect, and I try to find the softer side outside of the gym, I guess, would be. I don't know if I achieve it. People in my life will probably tell you I don't, but I don't know.
Hey, you're not the only one that cries, though. I cried last week when Sean O'Malley lost.
Every time I promote somebody, everybody's like, "Oh, Donna's crying again."
No, that's a good thing, though. But hey, we're gonna wrap this up. We really appreciate your time. We can't thank you enough for coming on here and sharing some insight with us. When we get off this call, if you could just stay for a second, you're almost all the way uploaded, but just so we can finish the upload, we appreciate it. But until then, we once again can't thank you enough for your time, and can't wait to see what comes out of the South Bay 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu Gym.
We got some good guys. Wait till you see what we got.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, Dawna. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. That was Icy Mike and Dawna Gonzales. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This little cuck wants to get into the story that he didn't finish last time because he doesn't know how fucking proper events work. So here's the current events with Cuck Daddy Flex.
Like my Chomo counterpart here was
you fucking piece of shit.
I'm sure we were all, struggling to stay awake during this fight, but Sean O'Malley versus Merab, Sean of his title. We're not even going to attempt that last name. Guys,
Devalishvili.
He's been working on it because he's got a thing for him now. So anyways, but guys,
I got a thing that I want him dead.
He thinks that Merab kind of looks like he could be in elementary school. I think it's based off of height.
I'm jealous of his nose. That's what it comes down to, dude. I'm jealous of that fucking coke nostril.
You heard it here first, guys. He wants his nose in his ass. So anyways,
yeah.
What I was trying to talk about before this guy started thinking about elementary school kids was
such a fucking coward.
Chael Sonnen and Sean O'Malley seem to think that he somehow won rounds
1, 3, and 5. It's not just him, it's MMA Guru also. MMA Guru made a whole hour-long video of how O'Malley won that fight.
I don't understand what fight you guys watched, you guys. He literally didn't dictate even a second of the fight. Merab had his way with him, and it fucking sucks because guess what? I like Sean, and I didn't like what I'd seen, and I was hoping for some redemption. I thought initially I went to his podcast and I was listening to what he had to say for himself because he totally skipped the post press conference. At first, he was eating the humble pie. He was like, you know what? No excuses. Went in there healthy, went in there, had the best training camp. Like everything was feeling right. Everything was going as perfectly as it should. Diet was on point. Easy weight cut. He's like, Merab just, did what he did. But it seems like as time goes on, he's starting to create excuse. And that's what I don't like. That's not going to resonate well with me. That's not going to create stardom. When Kamaru Usman lost his fight, you did not hear him go, oh, well, Leon this or Leon that. No, you were in a fight. You decided you wanted to press him and you got knocked out. He took it on the chin and he didn't make excuses. So my message to Sean is handle it like a champion. If you want to be a champion and you want to bounce back from this dude, you can't be a little bitch and go back to the drawing board and go start retracting your statements and go, oh, you know what? I won rounds 1, 3, and 5. No, you got fucking humped the entire time, bro. Merab had his way with you. He saw that colorful hair and he wanted to pull on it, but instead he kissed you. He fucking kissed you, bro. That's TKO by fucking Lipshin.
Bisexual assault.
Bisexual assault, dude. You got John Jones. Let's be honest.
Yeah. But on the flip side, I did watch MMA Guru's breakdown, and he broke it down frame by frame. So Sean, I mean, there's no question. Sean did win 3 and 5, especially 5 because he was hurting Merab with the teep kicks. Merab was clearly not liking that. He rocked Merab in round 3. Rounds 3 and 5, I do give to Sean. Round 1 is the real toss up, and I kind of see the argument. The reason being is if you're going off a damage based scoring system, Merab was the only one that was damaged at the end of round 1. He had that fucking toucan Sam nose bleeding, in round 1. And then round 3 is where he opened up a whole new cut on a whole new eye prior to the one that was already opened. He opened up the opposite side. So I definitely would give it, regardless, is a boring fight. And the reason why we have this taste in our mouth that he got completely dominated the whole fight is because round 4 was so dominant for Merab, and the fight was boring all throughout. But round 4 was so dominant in general. That's where we got the taste that he got dominated every single round. But if you do rewatch it, he did win 3 and 5. 1 is the toss up. 1's the one where it's like, it could go either way. I think the judges made the right decision. I think Merab won that fight. I'm not saying that he didn't, but what I'm saying is it wasn't a complete toss up like how everyone's making it out to be, because it was 2 and 2. Well, it was 2 and 2 throughout the whole, or 2 and 3 throughout the whole fight, but it was 2 and 2 if you gave O'Malley the first round. Because the first round, I mean, he didn't go to the ground until like halfway through the round, and he made Merab bleed. He was the one that actually did the damage in round 1. But I think the judges made the right decision regardless. I think O'Malley lost that fight. There's no question about that. I just don't think it's as big of a domination as how everyone's perceiving it, because I did rewatch the fight. And And I felt like I felt like it was a lot closer than what people were saying. Because Merab, when he took him down, he wasn't doing shit. There was no fucking damage being done. He was holding him down, kissing his neck, fucking whispering sweet nothings in his ears. He did nothing to Sean. He just held him down. And that I go off of a damage basing rank system. I don't go off fucking hump time.
Well, if you're looking at it in terms of like, who would you rather be at the end of the fight?
Merab was the one that was blooded up, not O'Malley. If we're being real.
He didn't look fucked up at all, dude. Like, not at all.
You talking about Merab?
Merab did not.
Merab was bleeding from his eye and his nose.
Merab didn't look
clearly
fucked up
you were drunk because we can rewatch it right now. I'm telling you right now. Merab was bleeding from his eye and his nose. O'Malley had no mark on him. So
my thing is, we know how Sean O'Malley normally looks when he fights. Merab dictated the fight so much to the point where he had Sean O'Malley looking flat. He was not able to throw those feints because he was too worried about the takedown.
But he also has to get hip surgery. He was dealing with this for 10 months. He had I forgot what the muscles called, but he had to get hip surgery.
He said he was as healthy as can be going.
Yeah, he said that, but he's not even the one that made the excuse. This is Tim Welch that made it. So let's be perfectly clear. O'Malley did not make this as an excuse to why he lost the fight. It was Tim Welch. Tim Welch said that he had I forgot the muscle, but the muscle in his hip has been fucked up since the Aljo fight, and O'Malley refused to fix it. So that's part of the reason why he looked flat. And I don't think that's the only reason. I think it was the nerves. I think the nerves of the event and everything got to him.
I put no stock in that injury in Tim Welch's comments because they posted so many like fucking stupid things leading up to that of him doing like flashy stuff and moving around just fine.
You can see his fucking nose busted up right there.
You talking about that little scratch?
Talking about his crooked nose and that scratch, dude. His nose was busted up right there.
A little scratch.
He also had a fucking cut right above his left eye or his right eye.
Did you see Sean O'Malley?
He wasn't fucked up at all.
His face looked pretty fucked up.
What are you talking about, dude?
Dude, when you look at his face on that first podcast he went back into.
Look at after the fight, though. That's what I'm talking about. The fight. Not fuck the podcast. You're going to bruise. People bruise differently.
The podcast is after the fight.
People bruise differently. I'm talking about immediately after the fight. Look at Merab's face. Merab has a welt right there on his forehead. He's got a busted up nose. O'Malley didn't have any of that. And we're getting off track because I agree with you that Merab won. I'm not disagreeing with that fact at all. I'm just saying based off if you're going based off damage, O'Malley didn't get dominated as bad as it seemed. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Merab didn't win. I agree that Merab won. There was no question about it. He fucking won. I'm just saying that people were so memorized by round 4 because I was such a dominant round for Merab. It kind of overshadowed the whole fight, which was boring in general to begin with. But O'Malley was the one that had the less damage compared to Merab. That's all I'm saying.
What was alarming to me, though, is even in the stand-up exchanges, Merab actually looked better.
He did for the most part. Round 3 and 5 are the two different ones. Obviously, round 5 being the big one because round 5 is when Sean O'Malley started actually throwing teep kicks, and that's obviously was fucking with Merab because he kept circling after he got teep kick. He didn't want to engage at all. He wanted the second. And then also round 3 is when O'Malley landed that big, I think it was the big right, and that's what cut Merab's eye. And yeah, I mean, overall though, regardless, it doesn't matter. Overall, Merab won. That's. In my opinion, Merab won. There's no question about it. I think Merab won. I don't think O'Malley should have won. I think Merab clearly won. O'Malley should have done more. But I'm just saying, I understand if you're going off of a damage-based ranking system, I understand why you would give O'Malley rounds 3 and 5. 5 was no question. 5 was O'Malley, regardless how you scored it. If you're a Merab fan or O'Malley fan, 5 is no question O'Malley's round. It's 3. That's that kind of depends on where you lie in that spectrum.
It's kind of like Sean's post that he posted on Twitter or I guess X after the fact, where he's like overpromised, underdelivered. Sorry, guys. I wonder if that has to play. I mean, I know for my expectations, seeing the way he performed versus like what he said was going to happen. Like that's going to sway you into like it being a dominating victory for Merab. I wonder if that affects the judges at all. If they're like leading up to it, it's like you see everything that Sean's doing.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't affect them. The judges should be non-biased. The judges shouldn't have a favorite. And obviously, that's in a perfect reality. Judges are going to have their favorites regardless. I'm sure if O'Malley did a little bit more, they would have loved to give O'Malley that win, especially the UFC, because UFC clearly doesn't want Merab as the champion. That's why they're trying to force Umnar down his throat, which I'm in favor of. Umnar deserves the title shot. If Figueiredo, don't get me wrong, Figueiredo has a claim to get a title shot, but let's be real. Who did Figgy beat? He beat fucking Rob Font and he beat Cody Garbrandt. That's not enough for me. Umnar came out and beat Corey Sandhagen, the clear number one contender, and he beat him pretty fucking handily. Umnar deserves the next title shot, but if it was O'Malley that won, they would have tried to force Figueiredo over Umnar, knowing that Figueiredo is the lesser threat. Where Merab, they don't like Merab, so they're forcing Umnar, which is, in my opinion, I don't give a fuck who's the champion. I think Umnar beats O'Malley and Merab any day of the week. I don't give a fuck which one of them are champion. They're both getting beat, in my opinion.
Which fucking sucks because that just means that division is going to be boring as fuck.
Umnar actually finishes people. Who was the last person Merab finished?
No, I'm just saying. I mean,
it was prior UFC.
Guys, I'm saying this coming from a grappling background. I respect grappling. I love to see the exchanges whenever people are actually pushing the pace and they're actually like going through good scrambles. But when you're talking about a champion, I mean, that's why people wanted Sean O'Malley to win, right? That's why, that's why we love those type of fighters. That's why people tune in to see, Wonder Boy. That's why people love watching Kevin Holland. That's why people, these types of fighters.
Just so you guys see, Umnar has 2 submissions and 1 KO. Merab hasn't submitted or KO'd one person in the UFC. Umnar has a much more satisfactional career in the UFC over Merab.
It really does seem like Merab does not want that fight, though.
He doesn't, because he's going to lose, and he knows that. Well, his best thing is grabbing people and dry humping them to a decision. Umnar is better than that. He can do the same thing, but he can also finish your bitch ass. He can choke you out. He can knock you out. Umnar, this is why, like I was saying prior to the fight, for O'Malley, his ideal route is beat Merab and then move up and fight Topuria. That's how you get O'Malley to be a major star. You keep him the fuck away from Umnar, because Umnar, I think, in my opinion, best in division, finishes everyone, dude. He's got that inbred hillbilly fucking that Russian strength, dude. They do steroids. They don't get caught. It doesn't matter. He wins.
Dude, I will say this, though. You put Merab versus Umar, and I think that because they're both dominant wrestlers, maybe that it becomes, like it does a lot of times with 2 high-level grapplers, it becomes a stand-up fight, right? Because they both don't really want to go there because it's really exhausting.
Umnar turns an AKA. He's a high-level kickboxer.
So you might actually get to see a stand-up bout between the 2 of them, and then it actually becomes a really cool bout for, as far as that matchup's concerned. But when guys know that they got a dominant and it's like overly dominant with the grappling, of course they're going to lead in with that. You're a fighter. You want to minimize damage. You want to capitalize on control. Of course you're going to lean in with that, right? If it's like the low-hanging fruit, I get it. But when you got 2 high-level grapplers, you might go, let me see if I could punch this guy in the fucking mouth really quick. Let me see if I could dance with him. Let me see if I can lay his ass out, just flatline him and not even have to go there. Show the world that I got more than just a grappling background.
Which I think Umnar lays out Merab. I think if it did come down to a striking battle, Umnar is better on the feet.
The reason why I actually agree with you there is because Umar is not going to be afraid of Merab trying to take him down, and that was
he's going to welcome it. He's going to say please.
That was Sean. That was Sean's whole big thing. That's why he wasn't throwing the feints. That's why he wasn't capitalizing on working his distance, using his height. He was terrified of Merab grabbing a hold of him, because look what happens when Merab grabs people that aren't great grapplers. And Sean, I'm not discrediting Sean when I say that, because actually he is a good grappler, and he did, when he had gas in those first couple rounds, he did a better job of like fending off the takedowns. But we saw what happened like as the fight went on. Merab just does a really good job of timing.
See, and that's kind of what leads me to believe that Sean O'Malley did have the injury they're saying, because the fact that like we watched him submit Takami Gamai, whatever the hell his name was, who was a very high level wrestler. We watched him submit him
with no threat of being punched, though. It kind of changes things up.
Marab doesn't hit hard. He's never knocked anyone out.
I don't know, dude. When he hit,
he knocked one person out before the UFC. He's never finished anyone in the UFC.
But Sean didn't look like he liked it when he got hit, man.
What I'm saying is, I think it was a mixture of the injury and the moment, it being, you know, a one-time UFC event and everything. He had the nerves, plus if that injury is real, plus he had the injury. I think that's why he was a little bit more hesitant. And I'm not making excuses for O'Malley at all, because honestly, I want to see Umar. It's Umar. I don't know why they keep saying Umar. That's where I got that from. But the Umar, I think he should be champion. I really do. I think, you know, he dominated Corey Sandhagen, who was #1 contender. And we're not talking about like simple, you know, fight domination. We're talking all 5 rounds. There's no fucking question Corey Sandhagen lost that fight. And Corey Sandhagen is a better grappler. At least Anthony Smith on paper, he's a better grappler than Sean O'Malley. So
the Sandman.
I don't blame people for dodging Umar. Nobody wants that fight, especially Merab, who his main game is grappling. His stand-up shit, if we look at it really, like if we look at it closely, if you guys like sit down and really think about it, his stand-up's garbage. He just looks good on the feet because people are scared of his takedown. Umar is not fucking scared of that dude. Umar welcomes that takedown. He wishes a motherfucker would. I'd say a different word, but I can't. But he wishes a motherfucker would. And I'm telling you right now, Umar is your next champ. Umar is winning against Merab. There's no fucking question. Umar grapples him. He outstrikes him. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's on steroids. He's also an inbred baby, so he's got freak fucking strength, dude. We're talking just complete domination from bell to bell, dude. You know? But I think that's enough on us going back and forth on that. I think the people got the point, you know. You're gonna side with who you side with. All I'm saying is,
you guys go in the comment section though, for real, and then let us know what you thought happened.
Yeah, let us know what you thought. But my argument, just so you guys know, is once again, I'm not arguing that Merab won. Merab did win. There's no question about it. The only thing I'm arguing is that O'Malley won 3 and 5. I don't care what other people say. MMA Guru, he's a fucking idiot. I don't care what other people say. Number 1, I would still give to Merab, but 3 and 5, I would definitely give to O'Malley. But let's get into this. So, we're actually getting into the current events. The ranking show is Umar a lock to become UFC champion. I guess there's not much to say here because we kind of already went through it. I brought this up when we were talking, but yeah, I think he's a lock. I think he fucks Merab up. And I don't think anybody takes that belt off Umar for a hot minute. I think Umar retires before the belt comes off him, just like Khabib.
Yeah.
But
I think it'll be that way for Islam too. I don't see anybody beating Islam.
Exactly. So they released the poster for the next UFC, well, not the next one, but the one after the next one, 308, and it is one of the coolest posters I've seen the UFC release.
Let's hope this poster doesn't get changed up last week of the fight, right? Because we all know fucking might not get into the octagon.
Yeah, it's against Whitaker, dude. He already pulled out once. I don't blame him. Whitaker would probably fuck Chimaev up.
It's inevitable, dude. He needs to fucking shit or get off the pot. I just saw Chimaev bitching the other day going, oh, they always tell me I get title eliminator fight and then I'm going to get a championship fight.
And it's like, yeah, you take fucking 8 months off between fights,
When's the fucking last time you fought, dude? I was a fan of yours, you fuckface.
Yeah. But this poster, though, aside from all that, this is the coolest poster the UFC has released in years. This poster is dope. I'm going to buy this whenever it gets released. I love this poster. I love the fact that you have you have Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria facing off. You have Hamza Chimaev and Robert Whitaker facing off. Early prediction, at least for me, I have this side Holloway winning, and I have Whitaker by domination. What do you feel about that? Early prediction. We'll get deeper into it once it comes time, but early prediction, what do you got?
Fuck.
And be honest. Don't just try to disagree to create content. Be honest. Who do you got?
No, I'm being straight here when I say this, but I do think Ilya Topuria could win that fight.
Oh, he can definitely win. But I think Max Holloway's chin, for one, he's not going to get knocked out like Volk did.
I know.
And
so
then,
that's why I would say Ilya would have to submit him.
Even then, though, dude, his Holloway has an 85% takedown defense. He is excellent when defending against grapplers, and he has a black belt.
But am I confused, or did Holloway move up a weight class?
He did, but this is 145. This isn't lightweight.
Okay.
So actually,
it is a little bit different.
And we're gonna be real here. This creates a super fight. If Holloway wins, this creates a fight with Islam, because Holloway is now, at least in my opinion, he beat Justin Gaethje by knockout. He's a clear-cut #1 contender at lightweight, and he's fighting for the featherweight belt. I think if he wins this, you get Holloway versus Islam, which early prediction, I think Islam wins that fight. I don't think Holloway can take him, but I think it'd be a lot better fight than the past fights we've seen Islam have. I think it'd be a lot more entertaining. I think Islam's gonna have a lot harder time taking down Holloway and dealing with his pressure and his power at lightweight, because his power at lightweight, dude, he knocked out Justin Gaethje, dude. Like, how many people have done that? Eddie Alvarez and that no name, whatever the fuck his name was when he first started. I think that those are the only people that knocked out Gaethje.
This just made me realize I want to see fucking Volkanovski fight again, man.
If he wins that title, UFC has confirmed Volkanovski is next to the title. So if Max Holloway wins, we will see part 4.
That'd be the first four Pete.
I don't think it's the first. I think there's one other. I can't think of who it is right now, but I think there's one other. But as of right now, where they're at in their careers, I think Holloway takes Volk right now. Volk's coming off 2 KO losses, dude. His confidence is hurt. Holloway is coming off 1 knockout and maybe a finish if he wins against Topuria, or decision.
It'll definitely be his best odds out of all the times they've had a matchup together.
Well, no, that's not true, because me and almost everyone else in the space agrees that Holloway won the second fight with Volk. First fight, third fight, there's no question. Volk won those fights. But the second fight, that's when we saw the Muay Thai Max. Max was fucking up Holloway the entire time. And if you look at the press's scorecards, every member of the press scored Holloway as the winner the second fight.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. So with Whitaker and Chimaev, though, dude,
I got Whitaker, dude. I got Whitaker by fucking domination. I think after that first round, Chimaev's tired. I think Whitaker takes over, and Whitaker, we see a similar finish to what we saw as the replacement for Chimaev.
Guys, I don't think I think Chimaev wins that fight.
I think you're tripping, but
I think he does, dude.
That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. I think you're completely wrong, but we'll find out.
We will find out, and I won't be mad either way because I like Whitaker, but I just my gut says Chimaev, if he gets into that octagon, he's going to win that fight.
I don't think we'll be. I won't be mad either way either, because I do like them both. But you got to look at the Kamaru fight, dude. Kamaru rolled off the couch weeks' notice and went up a weight class. Yeah, he lost the first round, but he won the second 2 rounds. That should have been a draw. That shouldn't have been a win for Chimaev.
But there's the argument of, did he break his hand in that first round?
There is that argument, but also Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is smaller than Hamza and Usman, and Gilbert Burns arguably won that fight.
Yeah, and you know, that's all subject to timing too. Gilbert Burns was on a fucking tear when they matched.
So was Chimaev. Chimaev was completely undefeated. Chimaev was finishing people in the first round.
No, it's just, you know, stylistically matchups make fights, right?
But you're saying timing. Whitaker's coming off of a first round uppercut knockout to the guy that replaced Chimaev. He's fucking on a high right now, and he's hungry. He wants to get that defeat from DDP off his record. I think Whitaker has just as much will to win here as Chimaev does. I think it all depends on the first round. If Whitaker can survive that storm, because it's not just the hand. You can look at the broken hand comment from Chimaev, but again, you bring up Gilbert Burns. Chimaev after the first round, dude, his stock goes down at least 50%. If Whitaker can survive that first round, which I believe he can, he was a Australian all-pro wrestler. He's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I think he can survive that. And then let's look at them on the feet, dude. Whitaker is so much crisper. He has that bladed karate stance. He's in and out before he gets hit. He'll pop you 3 times and then back out while you swing that right. We've seen that multiple times before. Whitaker is way better on the feet than Hamzat, than Hamzat, but he's way better on the feet than Gilbert and Usman. So
I hate that this fight's like it's a month out.
I know.
I want it to be tomorrow.
I mean, but hey, in 2 weeks though, we have Panda versus Roundtree. So
yeah, that'll be fire.
Yeah, but let's move on to the next thing because we're getting close to 30 minutes. Let's finish this out so we don't have a 3-hour-long podcast. The next one I have here is Mike Perry is expected to return to BKFC at first event in Philadelphia.
Hey, they made noise about it. That's good to hear.
Connor failed. It looks like December. So if all goes to plan, we'll see Mike Perry back in BKFC in December. But yeah, there's a lot here to discuss, guys. But we have 2 interviews. I don't want this to be a 3-hour podcast, but we appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you guys tune in Thursday. We're gonna have a lot of takes. We're gonna give predictions on this upcoming fight week. It's UFC Paris. It's a big fight card, so we'll give our predictions then. But yeah, make sure you guys follow. Make sure you subscribe to this fucking channel. Make sure you like this video. Share it with your fucking friends. Share it with your granny. I don't care. Get her Panda dildo. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, PandaMMANews 1. Follow us on X and TikTok at PandaMMANews. And yeah, until then, guys.
And guys, if you sit when you pee, just let people know that they need to be opening the door for you. You know?
If you're a cuck in the corner like Kev and Ian, dude, just sit and watch this video and don't do shit. But if you're a real man, you'll like and subscribe.
Or even if you're a fake man, dude, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Become a real man.
But
through our insight.
Until then, guys. Real quick before I let you guys go, I gotta show you guys the new merch. We got new merch on the site. You guys need to buy this.
Fire.
It is we came up with the Angry Panda design. I'll share my screen right now. Hey, you guys buy this shirt, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 25% off your next order. Just let me know you bought. But as you see, that's the front. You got Angry Panda, and then the back, dude, you got the real Angry Panda.
Straight gas.
And also on top of that shirt, we also have the sweater version, which is, the same type of thing, but in sweater form.
Same, but different.
Yep. So, make sure you guys check that out. We did have flat bill hats coming, but there was a problem with digitizing the design because the design is pretty intricate. So I got to work with the design team to figure out how that'll work. But we also have these type of hats available. You got black, pretty much every color you could want here.
All colors matter, guys.
All colors, dude. Not just certain ones, but all of them. So get
it in all colors.
Make sure you guys get the merch. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and we'll see you Thursday.